The following program is a production of Naleo TV.
Aloha! You're watching Dive In, a show that highlights the beauty and variety of things to do on Hawaii Island. I'm Gina Jobs. Today, we'll be diving into the history of Hilo Bay and the breakwaters. You'll also get to know the host of this show, Naleo's very own David Alvarez, as he shares his experiences of growing up spearfishing on the Big Island. So let's dive in.
Hi, I'm David Alvarez. I've been diving since I was 9 years old, so for about 18 years, and I was born and raised in Hilo. The person that taught me how to dive was my dad. So first, my dad never let me touch any three-prong, which is a sling that has 3 prongs on the bottom. So when you pull the rubber forward and you let go underwater, it will launch the pole forward, and that's how you shoot the fish. But my dad never let me touch any of his 3 prongs because of safety and stuff like that. He says, when you get your own, you can use it. And the day I found my 3 prong was when I went to the Keao transfer station, helping my dad throw away rubbish. And over there back then, they used to have stuff that people would leave and you could probably pick up for like $1 and stuff like that. But I remember when I looked in the chute, somebody threw away a 3 prong, and I just could tell by the tip, it was a graphite, and it had that silver tip on the top. And there was no rubber or anything to it, but I looked into the chute and I was like, Dad, that's a 3 prong. That's a 3 prong right there. And he was looking and he's like, wow, yeah. And my dad's he's a little pocket. He got that Chinese side. And I love him for it, but he's always about saving money too. But he saw that, he was like, it looks really good quality. So I'm like, Dad, I can get it. And he's like, he looks around, he's like, okay. So he takes my hand and I slide down the chute a little bit, and I reach it, I pull it out, I look at it, the graphite, everything was in great condition. And the only thing that I had to change out was the tip. And back when Tokunagas used to be by Ace Hardware, that's where he took me, and I saved up some money from birthdays and doing my chores and a bunch of things. And I'm spending like $23 to buy a brand new tip, which my dad then helped me screw on. And right there I had my very first 3 prong, and I was so excited. It was a 6-foot graphite, and I'll never forget that day. The funny thing is, the first thing that I caught wasn't even a fish, it was actually a taco or octopus. And this is one of my first dives after I got my brand new 3 prong. My dad took me on the west side of the island, and we was camping, but it was in a kind of shallow area, about maybe like 7 to 8 feet deep. And I look on the ground and I see a taco just crawling over the sand, and I didn't know what to do. It was my first time diving really, and about to, like, I was looking at my dad like, do I shoot it? I'm like pointing at him underwater, do I shoot it? And he's just nodding underwater, go get it. And then I was like, okay, so I pull my sling back, I shoot it, and I see the thing just start wrapping around the tip of my spear, and I'm freaking out because tacos is scary, especially when you're 9 years old. And it starts wrapping around the tip, and I'm like kind of panicking. My dad, he comes, helps me, he grabs the head of the taco, ends up biting by the eye, and then the taco make right there. And then that was my very first catch ever. So it was a crazy experience. So my dad too, you don't always find tacos when you go out diving, and he was kind of amazed, like, wow, this doesn't happen all the time, especially in this shallow and out in the open. So it was just an awesome first experience. So diving for about 18 years, I have noticed a difference in the ocean, from the coral reefs to the amount of fish in certain areas that I remember going down Keaukaha and going to a certain spot when I was about 12, 13 years old, and there's a lot of fish, I would see yellow white coles here, a lot of uhus just all over the place. But then turn the clock about 14, 15 years now, I noticed the uhus are a lot more skittish. I don't see the coles or holes that I used to see very often, especially on the Hilo side. That's why a lot of times I try to go dive on the west side. And I think definitely it's because of overfishing, overcatching, because one, our population is growing, but it's also pollution that's also, I think, to blame for the lack of abundance of fish here in Hilo especially. And Hilo is tricky too, because one thing that we deal with is brackish water, which is because of the underwater springs that come up. And the hard part there is when the salt and fresh water meet, it's really hard to see. And also because we have the river like Wailuku, during heavy rainfalls, it just stirs up in the bay, outside the bay, all on the east side here. And it makes it very hard, and it's very, very hard to see. There's no visibility when you're diving on the east side. So that's why it makes diving a little bit more tough. When I think of preserving the ocean especially, or the land, my dad always used to tell me, whenever you visit a place, you leave it better than you left it. And I look at that as whenever I go on a camping trip, or whenever I just have a diving trip, or I head to the beach, even with my family now, if I see a piece of trash, I'll pick it up and I'll do a little cleaning. I may not walk the entire beach and pick up everything, but if I see something, I will pick it up. I will throw it away, because I feel like that's just one small thing that you can do to help preserve the longevity of the ocean life, the land, and just keep its beauty. And that's why I just love the Big Island. Another way to preserve the fish especially is only catching what you eat. Like, I'll catch for maybe some families and friends too, but I would never go scraping one area to where it's dry. Like, especially when we're shooting yellow white cole, I would never shoot all the cole in that area. I'll shoot maybe 3 or 4 here, and then go to a different spot, 3 or 4 here, just to allow the population of the fish to stay abundant. I enjoy diving because it brings me peace, and a lot of people don't take the time to go look in the ocean, and its beauty is remarkable, and it's breathtaking. I love to not even shoot fish sometimes, but just to enjoy the beautiful reefs. And I've trained myself to where I was diving about 70 feet. I know a lot of divers out there, they're way more experienced than me because they go every day. And that's the thing about diving. If you're not consistent with it, you're not training your lungs, it can be very unsafe. So it's good to always practice, train, stay healthy, stay physically fit to be able to dive. So the other neat thing about spearfishing is it's like any other hobby. It's fun, you get an adrenaline rush, and it's good exercise. But the thing about diving is I'm able to bring home food for my family. I hope that everyone who goes fishing, diving, and just enjoys the ocean as much as I do, just be a little bit more mindful of preserving it, because I want my kids and their kids to continue to enjoy what Hawaii and Hilo has to offer.
The land around Hilo Bay was first settled by early Hawaiians in 1100 AD. The bay is home to Blonde Reef, which the Hilo Breakwall is built on. The Breakwall is one, if not the most famous and recognizable landmarks in Hilo. The Breakwall, which finished construction in 1929, was built with the intention of protecting ships from the rough ocean waters as they entered Hilo Bay. Hawaii during the 19th century had a booming sugar industry, which required ships and a calm, deep water port to dock them. Contrary to popular belief, the Hilo Breakwall was not constructed as protection for the town from tsunami waves. Both the 1946 and 1960 tsunamis went over and inflicted heavy damage to both the wall and the town of Hilo itself. Despite these two catastrophic tsunamis, the resiliency of Hilo has shown through.
We're here at the Breakwall where we'll be diving in, looking for some yellow-eye koole or yellow-eye tang. And hopefully if we see a uhu, we might catch that too. Let's go. So as we get started, I'm just checking out all my gear, make sure everything's good to go. So while I'm diving, I don't have to worry about anything. So here's my buoy where we'll be tagging all the fish that we catch on. And these are our safety buoy. It's required to have a buoy while you're diving, just so so boats are aware of where you're at, so you don't get run over. Because it actually does happen when people are diving out there and boats don't see you. It's very hard to see you on the ocean. So that's why they require you to have a buoy with a flag upright. So this is my favorite trick to defogging your mask, is to use a little toothpaste. A lot of people, if you don't have toothpaste, a lot of people just spit in your mask. But me, I like to use this. I feel like it's the most effective. Or you can find a lot of the places there's alpaca leaves, and a lot of people use that too. But you just take a little bit and you just crunch it up and you just wipe it around inside your mask so it's fully coated. Make sure you don't use any toothpaste that has crystals in it, because you just be scratching your goggles. You just get nice and coated, let it sit, and then we'll go rinse that out. So here we have my weight belt with approximately about 8 pounds to help counterbalance or help balance me in the water, so that when I drop, I'm not floating back up to the surface. Because when you're wearing a dive suit, you're very buoyant, and one, we gotta stay warm, but also we need to counterbalance the buoyancy from the rash guards and dive suits, so that we can drop without using too much effort to keep pushing down, and that's when you lose a lot of your oxygen. So that's why I have about 8 pounds on my weight belt. There's just a bunch of variety of different dive suits that you can wear, but this is a two-piece, and this is the He'e design by Hawaii Skin Diver, which I love. I want to say it's a 2mm thickness, but of course the thicker your rash guard, the more warm you stay, but the more buoyant you are. So that's why you'd have to compensate with your weight belt. So this is perfect for me, nicely fitted. I can breathe, but I definitely stay warm in the water. Also, a lot of dive suits, they either come with this hood on, or you can have them without the hood. Preferably, I like to keep all my stuff together, so less parts I gotta worry about. So today we're gonna be looking for the yellow-eye koole, also known as the yellow-eye tang, and it's really easy to see it because in the name it's called yellow eye, right? So it's a tang, a dark brown color fish with a very bright yellow eye, and they're very curious, so they're not hard to catch, but we're just hoping we can find a nice spot out there. So this dive, we're not diving too deep, pretty shallow, but I think the deepest we'll be getting to is about approximately like 25 to 30 feet. That's usually too around the depth, so you'll find a lot of the the coles, they don't hang out too close in the real shallows against the wall, but we will be finding them probably a little bit farther out at approximately about 20 to 30 feet. If we hop in the water, I bring this little bag mainly just for trash. If I see line, fishing line, or cans or anything, I try to at least clean up, you know what I mean? Take care of the ocean. And the ocean gonna take care of you, so. All right, let's dive in.
One thing that I do under the water is grunt. The reason I grunt is it makes the fish really curious. When you drop down, you want to do nice slow movements because you can conserve more oxygen. The more oxygen you can conserve, the longer you can hold your breath. We swam for a while before we found our first spot where there was yellow coles. After we shoot the fish, I swim back to my buoy and I take the fish to the stringer, or also known as a cuy. During this drop, I seen an uhu, and one trick that I like to do is to make hand gestures by opening and closing my hands. It gets the uhu really curious, and it allows it to come a little bit closer to you for that shot. When this uhu though came closer, I noticed it wasn't the size that I normally like to shoot, so I let it go. And the reason that you do that is if you keep shooting every fish that you see, you'll end up depleting the reef. The Yellowy Cole, or Yellowy Tang, can grow up to 7 inches. They are found all around Hawaii Island. You can find them in schools around the coral reefs, and that bright yellow eye is a dead giveaway.
The water was awesome. You don't always get Hilo like this because we deal with a lot of brackish water. The water's usually not always clear, but today it was so amazing. So it was a great dive. The water was beautiful. I didn't see as much yellow cola as I wanted, but I did see quite a bit, but not the size that I usually shoot. I usually try to measure it as long as it's about the size of my palm, then I'll take a shot. But and that's just to allow the reef to stay plentiful. Yeah, you don't want to be scraping, overfishing, over catching the fish, because you're just going to deplete this for the next generation. So we definitely want to conserve, take what you need, and I think we got enough to cook a awesome meal. So probably head over there and fry it up. I had a feeling, so the dive was amazing, but we're getting to the best part. The reason why you go out to go diving is to cook this delicious fish. So let's dive in.
Yellowy Tang is one of the easiest fish to prepare. All you need is to heat a pan of oil till it's boiling and put the fish right in. One thing you can never forget with your fish is the rice. Well, it's time for me to dive in.
Yum, that was so good. Mahalo for watching. We hope you enjoyed this program. Follow us on social media to keep up to date with our latest shows and events, or visit our website at naleo.tv. If you have any suggestions on what or where you want us to dive in next, please contact us, as we would love to hear from you. Until next time, aloha.
The preceding program was a production of Naleo TV.